Today, I'm going to start with two different stories about challengers to Joe Biden and Donald Trump, respectively, in their 2024 primaries. For Joe Biden, the Democratic primary; for Donald Trump, the Republican primary. We're going to start with some really interesting clips from an interview that Fox News propagandist did last night with Bobby Kennedy Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's running as a Democrat in the Democratic primary challenging Joe Biden. Now, I don't know whether I need to rehash my overall view about challengers to incumbent presidents running for re-election, but to be 100% clear, I support challenges to incumbent presidents. Joe Biden doesn't have any particular claim to the Democratic nomination just because he's an incumbent. Anybody who wants to run against him should. I would like to see debates. I get why the DNC isn't going to do them, because why would you ever put your current president from your party in a position where they can really only damage themselves? And I understand why the DNC isn't going to do debates. It's not unique to the Democratic Party. It's not unique to Joe Biden. It's not unique to 2024. That being said, the current challengers to Joe Biden, Bobby Kennedy Jr. and Marianne Williamson, are not particularly impressive to me. Now, before we get to the interview, you have to understand something really specific that's going on with right-wing media and the people challenging Biden right now, meaning Bobby Kennedy Jr. and Marianne Williamson. Marianne Williamson was also interviewed by Hannity last night. We're not going to look at that interview today, but maybe we will later in the week. And one of the things you have to understand is that Kennedy and Marianne Williamson are useful to right-wing media as ways to criticize Joe Biden and to criticize the Democratic Party. They don't actually find these candidacies interesting on their merits. The Bobby Kennedy one is interesting because it's an anti-vax candidacy, so that might be one way in which it is interesting. But when Hannity interviews Marianne Williamson, if you look at that interview, there was a whole bunch of focus on 5-6 times trying to get Marianne Williamson to say she believes Joe Biden is suffering from severe cognitive decline. It's not because Hannity thinks Marianne's platform is valuable that he's having her on. He's having her on to try to get her to attack Biden on something he wants to see Biden attacked on. And similarly with Bobby Kennedy Jr., it's not that the anti-vax actually is interesting, but it's just another way to criticize Democrats and to attack the DNC. Okay, so that's the context of why these right-wing shows are interviewing people like Bobby Kennedy Jr. and Marianne Williamson. That all being said, Sean Hannity asked Bobby Kennedy Jr., since you're an environmentalist, are you swearing off private jet travel? And Bobby Kennedy Jr. fails hard. This is an example of what happens when you're totally unprepared. Bobby says, and again, remember, Bobby's a nice guy. I had dinner with him once. We have many friends in common, But I think the candidacy is ridiculous. I think his anti-vax activism is ridiculous. He first says he is not someone who regularly flies on private jets, or he kind of is like, I don't fly on them much. Totally unprepared. And this just looks terribly. Looks terribly. Look at this.
You were getting on a private jet. Have you given up all use of private jets because of your environmental views?
I was literally laughing out loud when I saw this morning.
Are you really going back to this, Sean? I've never objected to anybody
that's a simple question.
Jets.
Are you pledging to never, have you given up the use of private jets?
Sean, I don't fly on private jets. I don't regularly fly on private jets.
I don't regularly fly on private. Oh, okay.
I'm not giving up any use if they're. Yeah, listen, I've never objected to people flying on private jets.
Listen, I think this climate alarmist stuff is a bunch of crap. So I don't care if you do or not. But if you're claiming to be a big environmentalist, you shouldn't be flying on a private jet, right?
I'm not. No, I'm not that kind of environmentalist. I believe that. Listen,
He's a private jet environmentalist, guys.
I have been fighting against pollution on the rivers and water, against coal and pollution, against carbon pollution because of the toxicity of those things. I have not told people that they shouldn't fly on private jets.
Okay.
This is really bad, guys. This is also so stupid because listen, private jet, I mean, all jet, the harvesting, refining, and burning of jet fuel pollutes rivers. You know, he's acting like, no, I focus on like DuPont leaking chemicals into a river. Oh, rivers. Well, okay, what do you think happens with the production and the burning of jet fuel all over the country? Some of it gets into rivers. This is just it's not serious. None of this is serious. This is embarrassing and humiliating. And it is a gotcha from Sean Hannity. But it's one that you've got to be prepared for. You really have to be prepared for it. There was another moment I want to look at here where, and remember, Bobby Kennedy's Democratic campaign is one that is extraordinarily pro-Putin. It's conspiratorial. It's anti-vax. It's a lot of things that the kind of, do I want to call it the regressive left likes? We'll get to that in a moment. He brings up a totally unfounded conspiracy theory about what's going on in Ukraine.
And by the way, what we're doing in Ukraine is not good for the Ukrainian people. We have killed 300,000 Ukrainian troops, 14,000 civilians.
Well, Europe hasn't stepped up.
We have not killed any Ukrainian troops. Oh, I'm trying to think, what on earth is he talking about? What could he mean? We've killed 300,000 Ukrainian troops. Russia has, maybe, I don't know if that's even the number. Russia has killed Ukrainian troops, but only if you interpret this to mean that we, the U.S., caused, induced, or forced Russia to invade Ukraine. Could you say we have anything to do with the killing of Ukrainian troops? So this is really bonkers stuff. Just a chaos agent per Steve Bannon, right? To use a Steve Bannon term, this is a chaos agent. And my colleague John sent me this article this morning from the New Republic. The article's called, "Who Are These Supposed Lefties Who Love Robert F. Kennedy Jr.?" And if you read the article, and if you just look around online, you very quickly realize that even though he's nominally running as a Democrat, Bobby Kennedy Jr. is running a sort of combination pro-Putin, anti-U.S. sort of campaign. It's appealing to those folks who are often in league with people like Bashar al-Assad and Vladimir Putin and the Maduro Chavez regime of Venezuela. And then it's also people who dabble in anti-vax, people who dabble in anti-science, conspiracy theorists, opportunists, etc. It's certainly not a progressive campaign. And to even call it a Democratic-leaning campaign doesn't really make sense. So that's what's going on the Democratic side, people challenging Joe Biden. And again, I say challenge him, bring everybody in. Everybody should run against him. OK, but that doesn't mean I have to celebrate and welcome every individual campaign. Let's now talk briefly about the side challenging Donald Trump. One of our sponsors today is Fume. Not everything in a bad habit is wrong. So instead of a drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad part from your habit? Fume is an innovative, award-winning device that does exactly that. Fume is not electronic. There's no vapor or harmful chemicals. Fume is just a delicious flavored air that makes replacing your bad habit easy. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts, which is great for fidgeting, which can be great for people breaking bad habits. Look at what people online are saying. They weren't sure what to expect, but ended up loving the taste and the feel. Stopping is something lots of people put off because it's difficult to do. But switching to Fume is easy and enjoyable. There's no reason that you can't be the next Fume success story. Head on over to tryfume.com and use the code PACMAN to save 10%. When you get the Journey Pack, which comes with the device and 3 flavors, the link is down below.